Well, look, mate, it's our last one. I was about to say, the last one of the year, and I'm very disappointed that you're not dressed up as Santa, but in good fashion, there we go. He does it. There we go. That's what you normally look like that off camera. So on camera, you look just as good. Like
you said, it like a clown, not like Father Christmas.
yeah, you know the way. Look, it's our last show of the year, the last APTV of the year. What an amazing year it's been. Before we bring our guest on today, who, let's be honest, he always makes us laugh and smile, but he's been up to a lot of good stuff actually recently. So can't wait to bring Michael on in a second. Michael Ryan's our special guest today. But before we do, let's close off with some comments, Mike. So tell me about what's happened in the last week or two, because we didn't do one last week because we had a live event. So let me know what's been going on, and then we'll have a quick wrap up of the year before we bring Michael on, if that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, just last week was amazing. We had, I think, over 100 people sign up. Some unfortunately couldn't make it because of a couple of transport issues, and then there were some concerns over safety, and rightly so. But the event was very well attended. I think circa 80 people all met in Birmingham. Brilliant event, obviously. Our educational team did a fantastic job, and we were supported by a couple of great sponsors, Complete Software, Amazon Business Services. Really showcased what they can do to help manage spend, sustainability, and all of that. So that was really good. And obviously, we've been building up to it for a while. I think it sets us in really good stead for next year. We've got a really packed calendar for the year. And really, for the last 2 weeks, Jamie, as everybody who's been speaking to me will attest to, it's all been about planning for next year. So I can now formally announce our media pack's gone out to all partners. We're going to be putting it on on the website shortly. We're going to be doing 2 conferences. We're going to be doing 6 regional events. We're going to be doing a series of masterclasses. We're going to be doing roundtable sessions. And so, yeah, it's been lots of good feedback as well from those that I've had the privilege of speaking to this week. Obviously, they got everything from me earlier in the week already. We've got a number of signups for the conference. We've got, it's going really well. I think we've got the mix right between online and virtual. Online and face-to-face. We'd love to be face-to-face. Obviously, we're live in a few moments. Boris is going to be doing his thing and telling us what we can and can't do. I think the community's resilient. I think we're looking forward to meeting up as much as we can safely next year, but we'll respond to whatever is sensible. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, Jamie. How about yourself?
Well, look, I mean, I'm just going to say the same as you said. Last week, I just loved the fact that we could go live in a face-to-face environment. So many people there, so many regular faces, new people we got to meet. Yes, it was in Birmingham. You can tell by the accent that was quite local for us. So it wasn't too far to travel for us. But people came, believe it or not, from all around Europe. We even had one guy from California.
California,
absolutely amazed me. So California, we had people coming in from Ireland, all over Europe. It was an absolute amazing event. We absolutely appreciate. We took every safety measure that we possibly could, but people turned up. They supported the association, supported one another. And the bit I loved, not only was great content speakers with the likes of Karen Young, Rebecca Howard, and our education team, we had great speakers from our sponsors, both Amazon and Complete. But it was just lovely to go and network with people for the first time in nigh on 2 years. So, yeah. And what was funny, that the guy that we're going to bring on in a second, Michael Ryan, the actual venue is the very first venue we had all those years ago when we did our very first conference. Now, I'm going to pull his leg when I bring him on in a second, because Michael was our very first very first speaker. And at the end of the first conference we did, which was 70 or 80 people, Michael then put his running trainers on and went running around Birmingham to get rid of the adrenaline he built up. But it was just super special to get back in the room, meet with our members, with new members. Really, really meant a lot to us and the network. And we are so much looking forward to doing the same next year. So all of those events you've said, Mike, we are going full steam for it for next year. Lots and lots of live events. And the guy I'm bringing on now, Michael Ryan, he's going to play a big part in this with us, because our audience love Michael. They love his ways, his means, his direct approach. And we're so much looking forward to bringing him. So look, let's bring Michael on. I know he's sitting in the back. This is the quietest he's ever been, sitting in the green room. That's because we've muted him. But let me bring him on.
Listen, before we bring him on, Michael, welcome. Just a quickie before we move on to you. I just wanted to just say a really big thanks to the studio in Birmingham, who were fantastic. I know they've got a big group, but the Birmingham team really looked after us. And as an industry that's taken such a hit, I thought what they did was impeccable. And it was just a great event. So, Michael, welcome.
Michael, look,
what are you doing?
I don't.
Hold on a second.
Well, look,
that was for Morris.
I told you,
it's taken a UK Prime Minister to silence an Irishman.
Look, Michael, I told you at the APA we take safety very seriously, but that's taking it to another level, having you wearing a mask on a Zoom call. But look, Michael, firstly, thank you for taking the time to see us today. As I just said, you're listening in the green room. Last week was the live event. You dialed in. I know you were on Zoom listening in.
Yeah, very good.
And the actual event space, if you remember all those years ago, where you were our very first compare, you did an amazing job of getting the audience warmed up. And at the end of it, you put your running shoes off and went running around Birmingham. So, do you remember that day, Michael?
Jamie, how could I possibly forget the first conference that you did? And you're sitting there the night before, I don't know how it's going to go.
Do you know what was special? What was special about the event was that I remember 5-6 years ago, I was sweating to death. I couldn't get my breath. I was nervous. You were there, trying to chill me out, saying you'll be fine. People will turn up. And you know what? Not only did we smash the very first one, that since then confidence became not only with me and you and the rest of the audience, but it became like that family, that association that we really wanted to do. And every conference in there, which you've been supporting every year, has just grown. So the first one, 60, 70 people, whatever it was. Second year, 200 or 300. The pinnacle in 2019. Near enough 500 people in a room. You were the main man comparing. We had the wonderful Brad Burton. That's when we knew we got to where we wanted to. And then look what happened from 2019. Madness.
I have to hand it to you. You achieved what you set out to do, to build an association for accounts payable and to give the accounts payable teams a voice. And to be fair, there's nobody else. There was nobody else doing it, and also there was nobody else who was even on their radar to do. And at the end of the day, a finance function might have its upper echelons to it, but the bulk of the team exists in doing the real work, shall we say. So, what you've done, and if you consider where you started from, the first session that you did, and your ambitions at the time, provide an association, give the teams a voice, give them education. The courses are extremely well run and the feedback is fantastic. Provide subject matter experts to provide advice and guidance and counseling and all the rest of it. Build an ecosystem of partners for the Accounts Payable Association space. You've done it, I mean, hats off. I take a hat off, but I wouldn't be able to hear you.
Well, look, I mean, and again, our thanks go to you personally, because you helped us year on year. You supported us. You shared the messages. Not only did you a great job comparing the conferences, you were in our community, and you're one of our 100 influencers. So for anybody who's watching that doesn't know what that means, is that Michael's one of 100 people that we recognize as an industry who influence the community at large. Doesn't necessarily mean he's got to be an AP manager. What it means is he works in that environment. He's always trying to promote. He's trying to influence best practice wherever it is, which I think leads us quite nicely onto what you've been doing for the last 6-12 months or whatever it is being your lockdown. Finance transformation. Tell us all about what's going on, Michael.
Just before I do that, we'll just do something on behalf of somebody else. There's there's a person looking for a job. Her name, I'll get this right, is Kerry Slattery. So she's looking for an AP job, a permanent job in the Birmingham area, and she has, if she doesn't mind me saying so, successfully recovered from cancer. And I've passed her across a few jobs that have been floating past my eyes on LinkedIn, but your community is, first of all, everybody will know whether they have an operation in the Birmingham area, and secondly, they'll know whether they have an opportunity. So look up Kerry on her LinkedIn profile and see if there's anybody there who can help her. So that's my good deed for the day. What are we on here to talk about? Well, first of all, we have to acknowledge that in 18 months of COVID, I've never managed to get the background right. we are sitting here in a mist from the Greater Dublin area because I can hardly see the screen. When we tried to practice run for this, I was sitting in the dark. Which makes it all the more interesting because I conducted a webinar last Thursday night for SAP Concur, in which, very nicely done, they said the bottle of wine to everybody, and I hope they all drank it because they could probably see me as well as you can currently see me at the moment. What have I been doing? What will 2021 be remembered for? Well, apart from Boris, because I think I've spent most of the last 11 months glued to Sky News watching what's going on in the House of Commons. In fact, I actually don't think I'll ever be able to work again without taking a break at lunchtime for Prime Minister's questions times. I don't see how any man can get through the day without touching in on PMQs and see how Boris is getting on and sitting there and roaring at the screen. It's almost supplanted the extent to which I roar at the screen when Manchester United are playing. But anyway, that's another story. So, what have I been doing? I always believe that every year you should achieve something different. You've got to keep pushing yourself on, putting a new idea, whatever, no matter what it is. At the start of the year, I set up the brand for my consulting for remote working, which is Finance Transformation UK. It's very, very easy to find because it's financetransformation.co.uk. In fact, I think the big four look at it and go, how did we allow Michael to steal that domain name for, I think it was 15 quid? Lovely, I have it, it's great. But the real win was my partnership network is a great group. And unfortunately, after 11 months, there's quite a few of them I haven't actually met in person, but I'm the type of person that I meet one person, and they introduce me to another person, and they introduce me to another person, and like the number of people that I know from my past career in consulting, working in the UK, some of the perm jobs and all the rest of it, they keep sending people towards me going, you guys should have a chat. And it's that basic approach to life which led to this. And this, hopefully you can see this better than you can see me, since I invested so much time and effort in it. What is it? It's Finance Transformation Magazine. Well, when you own the domain name, you might as well own the magazine name to go with it. And that idea came as a result of a partner call I had back in March, where one of the chaps who then subsequently appeared in the Q4 edition in November, Elias van Harweden, who I used to work with at Deloitte, said to me, Michael, he says, you need to be doing video. He's from Belgium. You need to be doing video. And you also need to be doing like a bulletin every quarter. You need to send out a bulletin. I said, stall the ball. Stall the ball, I says. A bulletin. Any age you can do a bulletin. Let's do a magazine. And he's like, yeah, go on, you try it. So I did. And the first edition went out from memory, it went out online in April. The approach is simplicity itself. I always tell people, if you're running a project, get a good firm idea on what it is you're attempting to achieve, focus in on it, and keep going and keep going and keep going. We decided to do the magazine online. We launched it via my LinkedIn profile, which has about 20,000 connections. I assure you, I know 19,100 of them, and there's a few others that I haven't met yet. We launched it online, and then we just share it by osmosis. And I reckon by the time we did the Q4 edition, which was the third one in November, we had in excess of 100,000 views of the magazines. Now, this, as far as I'm concerned, when we started out, it was like, oh, we'll do a bulletin. We're doing a magazine. This is great stuff. I'm actually absolutely thrilled with this. Because one of the things it does, it combines the fact that, one, I actually do for an introvert who's extremely shy, like meeting people. It gives me a complete excuse to go knock on somebody's electronic door and go, I think you have a great story there. Do you think we can have a chat? And it also allows me to write, which I've always enjoyed doing. And actually, it's one of the biggest skills I ever learned in consulting was how to tell a story. As I used to tell the lads at Deloitte, I'm an Irishman. We know how to tell a story. Just give us a drink. So, the secret to it is, you still see me okay? You put it up on screen. The secret to it is to take a subject that some people think is dry and apply my personality to its delivery. Anybody who's ever worked with me knows running on one of my projects is an experience in itself. I tell people, if you're going to bore me, stay at home. Life is meant to be amusing. The magazine calls upon all the people I've met through, and this is actually true, through 5 years at Whitbread Beer Company, 5 years at Argos, 5 years at Deloitte, 2 years at Logica, and 9 years for anyone who can do the sums, bringing me up to the grand old age of 51 there about 2.5 weeks ago, as an independent consultant. And in that magazine are a lot of people. There's Elias, the location strategy expert we used to work with at Deloitte. A lot of the people in the magazine are my contacts. They've become my friends over the years. And they're good people at what they do. And what I did was I gave them a platform. That's what I did. I says, look, you have a story to tell. I know it's a good story. You know deep down it's a good story. What we need to do is to put it together in as pictorially appealing format as possible and go, I want to read that. And that's what we did. So some people could say accountancy is boring. Personally, I think they just never become accountants. Some people could say finance transformation is all, it's all very hard. Well, everything you do is as exciting and interesting as you want it to make. I actually love my job. I've always loved what I do. I love running finance projects. And I treated the magazine like a project. And I says, I'm going to share with so many of my peers, my network, my friends, the stories that I know all my other friends have. And then all the other great stories that I come across, you see the Will It Make the Boat Go Faster crew there. That's Ben Hunt Davis, Olympic champion, Sydney 2000, and the rowing crew that he was in. And I go, these are great stories. These are great. They need to share these stories. These guys are in the performance consultancy space off the fact that, well, if you can't learn something from the Olympic champion, you really should go back to bed. And they put it across. I saw it, I thought, this is great. I thought, I want this in the magazine. Not only do I want it in the magazine, I want it on the cover. And my direct instruction to Ben was, when we reach the 2-pager in the middle of this, that these guys, that everybody's reading, you make them feel like they're on the water. That's what I want you to do. Forget the accountancy and the finance transformation piece. You're the champion. You're the one who's dedicated a career to be the best at what you can be. Make them feel like they're in the boat with you. And for the Q1 edition, which is coming up, delivery 1st of February, most of the work being done at the moment, we have Mandy Hickson, who you had speak at the conference in October to rapturous applause. Brilliant story. Jamie knows I have a fondness for the RAF. One of these days I am going to get into a Spitfire, even if I have to twist Mandy's arm to get me into one. Mandy is going to be on the cover of the Q1 edition. And the simple instruction to her, insofar as you give her an instruction, is when you write the 2-pager for the middle part of this as the feature, and make them feel like they're in the cockpit. And so what you're trying to do is you're taking people away from what can be the regular mundaneness of their job into far more exciting aspects from which they can learn and then bring back into their job. And that's part of it. Like I've been an accountant since whatever it was, 1990 something, and I get a regular accountancy magazine, and this stuff it doesn't excite me, you know. So I mean, part of the thing here is these stories have to be interesting. As Jamie will know, when I was editing the last edition, if I didn't like it, I just sent it back and said, I'm not reading this, they're not going to want to read it, fix it. There was a few people who got shocked with the Q4 edition. Did he actually just send that back to us and tell us it's not good enough? So actually, I've enjoyed being an editor. That part's been fun. The magazine itself, it's delivered online. It's also delivered in print copy, and hopefully some of your attendees last Wednesday got hold of a copy, and you were able to share it with them. It's delivered to 400 finance leaders across the FTSE 350 in an actual print copy. Naturally enough, there's a cost to this. There's a cost to the design, and there's a cost to the print and mailing part of it. So for Q1, we've moved more heavily into the sponsor space in order to accumulate the cost for doing this. I mean, last year it was a labour of love. I invested loads of money in it. I probably lost a few shillings, but like, at the end of the day, I gained a bigger network. I have new friends as a result, but actually, literally, I have met some fantastic people, and I have enriched my life. So it was worth every single penny. I'll now stop talking.
No, look, you know what, Michael? I mean, look, I always knew bringing you on the show meant that we didn't have to do any talking. So we've actually been out. We've done all our Christmas shopping. We've had 3 beers each. Only joking. You know, look. What I would say is, obviously, as I brought it on the screen, you know, clearly it's a labour of love. It's obviously part of what you do, finance transformation, and we were fortunate enough to help you this month or the last quarter. The AP Association put an article in there. And you're right. You know, the great thing I think about the magazine generally is that you're bringing a finance community together generally. It doesn't necessarily have to be finance, by the way. It could be payroll. It could be HR. It could be IT. You know, there's lots of things in there about real estate, etc. But what I love about it is that you did it for the passion first and not the finances. Between you and I, Michael, you know that anything in print makes no money. But actually, you're trying to get that message. You're trying to get the community together. So hats off to you for doing it. I think ultimately, you know, Tony's just commented in the comment here saying it's a great magazine. Everybody who's read it on online or in print love the tone. They love what you're trying to get across. It's the truth as well. You know, you're direct. You're trying to get a point across. You're not looking for big sponsorship deals with diverting messages. This is what people really want to know. And I think that's when I've read it and we've participated as well. I really implore everybody of our members or anybody in the finance or shared service centre space, go and read it, because it absolutely is a great read. And every quarter you've done them, I think you've topped them every quarter. Every quarter you've got a little bit better content. And with Mandy being on your first quarter for next year, I think it'd be amazing. A double spread page spread there, mate.
Yeah. No, actually, I've already seen the cover. Mandy hasn't, but I've seen it. It's absolutely deadly. And the 2-page story that she wrote, it's actually very interesting talking to different people from different backgrounds. Because of the consulting piece of work that I did with Deloitte for a couple of years, we were taught how to tell a story. I was kind of joking earlier. We were taught how to tell a story. How to put something across the clients is actually quite clinical. And it's fantastic to just say to somebody, I want you to write a story, and this is how I want you to write it, and the professional sends it to you like that. So that you're reading it and you're going, oh, this is great. You're not reading it to correct it. You're reading it going, this is brilliant. So there's a little piece where like attracts like, because I'm sure you all know, when you put the best people into something, you either put them into a magazine or you put them into a room, they all up their game. And there's quite a lot of them that have come to me going, I want to be in this because I've seen so-and-so. I'll write you an article as well. And we're going, cool. You know? That's all good. The formula to it is straightforward enough. The design part of it works on the image has to attract your attention. And the headline in each of the articles can only be up to 6 words. That has to be striking enough. I was talking to a chap the other day who's got a fantastic article for the next edition. And he basically said to me, Michael, all I wanted to be able to do is pick it up, flick through, go, right, 2nd article for me, 5th article for me, put it back down on the desk, I'm done. When you're running something, when you're running a finance function or HR, IT, procurement, whatever, you're busy all the time and you're bombarded with information. And the idea for the print copy came from the youngest member of the group, which is Tom Bailey, who runs the Ricardo recruitment agency in the Birmingham area. And Tom just said, send out a print version. And all of us on the rest of the call were probably somewhere between 45 and 50 something. And we just said, no, nobody does that. And then every single one of us were like, well, what do we do when somebody sends us stuff? We print it out. And then what do? We start making notes on it. Do you ever make notes on the screen? No. So the idea was to send this to all the movers and shakers, the people who make the decisions and go, you read that when you feel like reading it. You don't have to read it on my time. When you got the time, you take a look at it. That's the basic idea. It's gone beyond my wildest expectations, and I'm absolutely thrilled with it. I appreciate you probably had some comments come up. For those of you who don't know, I hurt one of my eyes during the course of this year, and I can just about make out Jamie and Mike. So if you throw up comments, that's great stuff. I still can't read them.
No, we've got plenty of comments coming through, as we always do. Some people watch this live, Michael. Some people watch it back on replay. Look, we're coming towards the end of the session today. Mike has been very quiet. He can't get an word in edgeway with you, which is unusual. Having 2 people that keep themselves entertained is great. Mike, anything from yourself? Anything you want to ask the great Michael Ryan before we sign off today, Mike?
No, just first, thank you. I mean, our success, your success, we're here to support. We're a community. And on that, I think you've got maybe next year might see events, Boris willing and others. And we'd love to support you and have you support us and just keep building the buzz around finance transformation, AP, getting the stories told for all of the good partners that are they just want to help. They just want to help deliver excellence. And you know, we vet the partners that we allow into the community for good reason, because you know there are lots of potential solutions, but finding the right one is always down to, you know, what people are looking for, and there's lots of choice and lots of opportunity. So we'll speak more about that throughout the year. But yeah, that's it for me. Just a big thank you, really, and keep doing what you're doing.
You're more than welcome. I mean, I've always, like you said, and Jamie, have become friends out of this over the last 4 or 5 years. And like, I'm delighted with how we get on, and I'm quite happy to support you in everything that you do. Quite happy to do some of the events next year as Boris allows us to. That's no problem. I intend to continue the magazine on a quarterly basis. So the Q1 edition will go out on the 1st of February. In fact, most of the contributors have already been boxed off. On that note, I should give mention to the fact that Rachel Long from Breeden and her team will feature in the Q1 edition. So I said to Jamie, I said, you could either write something or you could give me something interesting to write. So he says, I'll go on, I'll let Rachel write a story then. So by default, the AP Association will be in all the pictures, so you're still getting some publicity. In terms of your events, always more than happy to support them. I intend to run one event of my own, most likely either London or Birmingham or Manchester on the last Thursday of March. Boris, God willing, allowing us all to travel. The last day I couldn't make it because I was actually waiting on the results of a test. Thankfully I passed, but nobody gave this to me until the Wednesday. So,
I think we've even been threatening to come over and see you, haven't we, at some point?
You sparked the thought in my head just as you were speaking there. First of all, I think you actually should come to Dublin and put on an event. And we can certainly help you do that and facilitate that, and no problem whatsoever get involved and help you. There are plenty of AP providers in the Dublin area or in the Irish market. I'm sure they'd love to get involved. I'm sure they'd love to support it and all the rest of it, given an Irish focus. So that's definitely no problem. I think one of the things that I want to do with the magazine, because I get approached all of the time. You see, some people forget that I'm actually also a consultant. So I spend my life doing transformation projects, and the rest of the stuff is just because I can't sit still for 23.5 hours a day. But I get approached an awful lot by people who have accounts payable solutions, purchase to pay solutions, all of that. And there is an awful lot of solutions in the automation space for purchase to pay. Interestingly enough, in the Q1 edition, we're going to the dark side of the house. We're going to cover order to cash payments and fintech. But I get less inundated with requests from there to look at the software that they've got, the value propositions that they've got, how they're going to market, all the rest of it. So the idea struck me that we require to create some form of AP automation document, Bible, whatever you want to call it, at some point during the course of next year, and just go to everybody, look, here you go, here's the AP Automation Bible. There are 50 suppliers in here that represent the entire UK market. Honestly, pick one for yourself, assess them independently and in a fair and honest manner. And go, here it is. When you want to know where they are, just go flick through it and find one which suits you. Something like that we need to do, I think. And we can collaborate to do that, so we can do it fairly and independently across the piece.
Absolutely.
That is the extent of my ideas as it stands at the moment. Haven't been turned down for the United job.
Yeah, you're always full of ideas. And the great thing about you, Michael, is that not only do you have the ideas, you always fulfill them. So you've written a book, you've written a magazine, you're doing finance transformation. Look, we're going to wrap it up there. We always keep it around 30 minutes. So thank you for attending today. Over the 5 years, as you said, we started off as colleagues and we shared the stage together. And 5 years ago, we've become very good friends over that time. You've always been supporter of me personally and the association. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful Christmas over in Ireland. Have a pint of the black stuff or two for me and the association. Just before we sign off today, it's a big thank you. This is our last one for the year. It's our sort of final one. I'm on holiday from Friday, so I can hopefully put the laptop down, turn the emails off. it's been a wonderful year for us as an association to hopefully entertain, communicate, engage, educate. We've had a live event, which, you know, I'm so proud of. But you know what I'm most proud of is that our community has continued to grow in the worst of times, in the environments they've all had to put up with. They've performed that, they've outperformed their skins. They really have taken their levels up. It's absolutely been amazing to have such a lovely community, be part of that community itself. I can't wait for next year. I can't wait to get back live, and can't wait to see Michael in his running shorts and his green trainers as he goes running before or after an event. But look, a great year, great end to a year. Mike Paverley, the other Mike on the call with me, thank you for doing all you did this year. You've brought a brilliant community together. You've brought a brilliant partner network together. Just before we sign off, Mike, I'll let you have the last word, not him. Mike, any last words before we sign off today?
No, I'm just going to say it's goodbye from me and it's goodbye from him. Have a great Christmas, guys, and a happy New Year. Yeah, stay safe.
Yeah,
lovely. Thanks, everybody, and we'll speak again soon.
All right, all the best, folks. See ya. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.